Welcome to R.A. Dickey Bobblehead Day here at Rogers Center. This wraps up a 6-game homestand against AL East rivals Orioles and Red Sox, and John Farrell's team has taken the first 2 games of this series. Dickey trying to solve the Boston Red Sox lineup, who have scored 15 runs in the first 2 games. Take a look at the Red Sox lineup right at the top of the order. Dustin Pedroia, his last 8 games, he's starting to swing it. 5 doubles and 4 RBIs out of that 8-game hit streak. A.J. Pierzynski against R.A. Dickey. He's 5 for 12, and this is why he's the DH this afternoon. And A.J. hit his 8th career grand slam yesterday. So he's got his hot back in there. Both catchers for the Red Sox are in the lineup against Dickey,
who was in search of his first win since April the 5th. Third time he went 6 innings last time out. Tied a season high with 6 strikeouts. He says he hasn't been able to put a full game together. He's good for about 4 or 5 innings, and then he has hit a speed bump. So he's looking for a little bit of distance this afternoon.
So Dickey warmed up with that one baseball. He wants another one now. Dustin Pedroia. He's the leadoff man. They have been in search of a leadoff man. It looks like they've found the right guy in Dustin Pedroia. First pitch of the ball game is upstairs for a ball, and we are underway. Pedroia had 2 hits in the opener. He was held to a 1 for 4 yesterday. On the ground, Reyes at short. Over to first, 1 down. Well, Blue Jays defensively have played well all season long. A little different look here in the outfield today. Melky Cabrera's in left. Jose Bautista, his 3rd start of the season in center. Moises Sierra is in right. Rory Reyes Diaz gets his first start at second base. Edwin Encarnacion's the first baseman, and Josh Tolle is the regular catcher for R.A. Dickey.
Tough left-hander on the mound in Leicester, so you got to fill him up with right-handers. So Jonathan Diaz will get his first start, like you said, at second base against his former team.
Eddie Sizemore takes a fastball for a strike. Sizemore's the left fielder, and he is making a remarkable comeback. He was out of the game for 2 years because of injuries, and he's done a nice job for Boston. Gives them some versatility and the ability to play all 3 outfield positions. He was a center fielder for the Cleveland Indians in his heyday.
And the Red Sox are just not real sure what they're going to get out of Grady Sizemore this year. John Farrell says there's no template of what has happened to Grady Sizemore. He's been out of the game for 2 seasons, and they're hoping he holds up. There's nothing wrong with him physically. Said if he went on a 2-year mission and he came back, the same thing. You don't know what to expect.
He hits that one off the railing down the third base side. Grady Sizemore played in just 71 games in 2011 with the Cleveland Indians, and then missed the entire 12 and 13 seasons. Came into spring training and impressed the Red Sox enough to earn a spot on the 25-man roster. Pretty good knuckleball there, and that's a slower one, and that's something we're going to watch for today. Dickey himself acknowledging that everything is a little bit too much the same speed, so he throws this one 67 miles an hour, and it gives him some late movement.
And the timing issue also for the hitter.
There's a little harder one at 77, 10 miles an hour difference, and Sizemore strikes out.
That is a great point. Josh Tolle was telling us the other day that he's been trying to get R.A. to back off at times. Instead of throwing the hard knuckleball every single time and throwing through the break, take something off every now and then and get that pitch that moves a little more.
That was a perfect example. The previous pitch was 67. The strikeout pitch was 77. Mike Napoli steps in with nobody on and 2 outs. Another fastball for a strike. Napoli did not play in the game yesterday, and Blue Jays applaud that whenever it happens.
Yeah, he's got great numbers against the Blue Jays here.
Good job by Tolle to receive that knuckleball, but it was just off the plate. Ball on the strike. Boy, there's a good one. Another mid-70s knuckleball with late break.
You know, the recent knuckleball pitchers in the game, Tim Wakefields, Charlie Huff back in our day, their knuckleball was mid-60s, maybe high 60s, but they got tremendous movement.
1-2 pitch. Strike three. Good start for R.A. Dickey. A couple of strikeouts as he sets down the Red Sox in order. R.A. Dickey has it working early on R.A. Dickey bobblehead day. John Gibbons here this afternoon. Top of the order, the leadoff man is the switch hitter, Jose Reyes. Another switch hitter right behind him, Melky Cabrera. Against John Lester, he's put up good numbers. 10 for 36 with a double and 2 RBIs. And Jose Bautista, he too has been swinging a hot bat lately. A 7-game hit streak, 385 average with a homer. That came yesterday against Koji Uehara.
John Lester gets ready for his 6th start of the season. He does what a number one does. He gives you decisions. He's had a decision in each one of his 5 starts this year. Problem is, he's got a losing record with a great earned run average. They're just not scoring him any runs.
John Lester is set. Here's the first pitch to Reyes. There's that cut fastball off the plate, and that's a key for the Blue Jays. Swing and strikes, and it's a hard thing to do against John Lester.
He's got that ability to throw pitches that look like strikes, and then they end up off the plate.
When John Lester first came to the big leagues, his catcher was Jason Varitek. And Varitek was very pleased with Lester's ability to throw glove side strikes on that third base side of home plate. And Varitek always said, when Lester can command the arm side part of the plate, then he's going to be a Cy Young candidate, and he has done that.
And that is the outside part of the plate to a right-hander.
Ball is hit in the air to right. Johnny Gomes is in right field today. He's there and makes the catch. Melky Cabrera has been a red-hot hitter, and look at the difference from a year ago. Pat, he got off to a slow start, and he is swinging a hot bat now.
A lot of extra base hits now for Cabrera. That's what I like to see out of his bat. 11 multi-hit games, the second most in all of the major leagues. He's been consistent. Started in spring training, and he has carried it right through the first month of this season. He stays on a lot of pitches, and with that great short swing, he's come up with a lot of hits.
Melky Cabrera had a 14-game hit streak to start the season. If Lester gets that pitch called a strike, it's going to be a miserable day for the Blue Jay hitters. 0-1. Goes right back in there, and Cabrera slices it just outside the foul line. Lester's working to the veteran David Ross, and the Red Sox have the oldest catching tandem in baseball, but boy, are they experienced.
Well, a lot of knowledge back there. They try to find weaknesses in the batters.
There's that hard breaking ball, and Cabrera strikes out. 2 up, 2 down. That'll bring up Jose Bautista. And you go back over his most recent history against Boston, pretty good numbers.
Well, he talks about it, and he was talking to us today about that, about hitting strikes. You have to hit strikes. And when you do, you're going to put up big numbers. Jose, last 20 games, 10 home runs. One of those home runs against John Lester with an outstanding on-base percentage.
So Bautista hitting with nobody on and 2 outs. Just like Napoli for the Red Sox in the top half of the inning.
You know, watch the defense here. Look at this, Buck. They're not shifting over like they did before. Jose Bautista has his lane back.
Well, you mentioned the lane. Explain what you mean by that.
Well, for a hitter, there are certain lanes in the infield between second and short, between third and short, between the second baseman and third. Those are lanes, and you took those lanes away when you shifted. The Red Sox did. And they took one of the lanes away. Now Bautista's got that lane back, right back through the middle. Look at the room he's got right through the middle now.
Yep, he has straightened them out because he's gone to the opposite field against them. And that's all you want to do. Just spread out the defense as thin as you can. Don't allow them to bunch you in any particular pattern. And it also is reflected in the outfield. Juan Nieves and Brian Butterfield, they're responsible for the pitching and the defense, so they talk a lot. Bautista shoots this one down the right side, hit hard, Gomes over in the corner, and that's a foul ball. Boy, there is not much room down in that corner for it to be a foul ball. And Lester may have gotten away with one as John Gibbons has come out of the dugout. Bautista reluctantly comes off the bag at second. Take a look at this ball down in that corner.
You're right. There's not a lot of room down there, and you can see it hits the fence first. That white line and the padding almost connect down in that corner. John Gibbons had a long way to look. He's looking straight down the first base line. He's got a long look to down there, and he's trying to get the replay, but it's clearly a foul ball. It hit the padding on the right-hand side and then bounced fair.
Nobody has a better perspective in this ballpark on that, other than the first base umpire, than the manager in the Blue Jays dugout. You sit right down at the end of that first base foul line all the way down, and he had a good look at it. It was a tough call for Alan Porter, but you could see clearly it hit on the sidewall before it struck the ground. Bautista with a 2-2 count. Now it's full.
I like the idea that Jose was trying to hit that ball to right field. The hands came first, and then the barrel lagged just a little bit so he could stay on it longer.
Coming inside. Pops it up into right. Johnny Gomes comes in a few steps, and Bautista's retired. Both pitchers retire the side in order in the first. Pierzynski broke the game wide open in the third as the Red Sox scored a run, and then nobody out, and the bases were loaded.
was a sinker that didn't sink. They brought in Chad Jenkins in a tough spot right there to try and get a ground ball and get out of the inning, but Pierzynski foiled that with the grand slam.
He went around. So Pierzynski with strike one. A.J. Pierzynski, that was his 8th career grand slam. And it also increased his batting average to .351. So that puts him in select category with just 5 active players with at least 8 grand slams and a career bases loaded batting average over .350. Reyes positioned perfectly, takes one away from A.J. Pierzynski. So after Pierzynski yesterday, Will Middlebrooks against Chad Jenkins.
Little changeup that stayed over the middle of the plate, and Will Middlebrooks has big numbers here. He's got gap power. And that time he hit it over the fence in the left center field. He's got 10 extra base hits in just 13 games here at Rogers Center. Got a nice stroke to the gaps.
He's a powerful hitter that doesn't have to pull the ball to hit it out. And that affords you the luxury of waiting a little bit longer before you commit. You take a look at Middlebrooks' career numbers at Rogers Center. .333 average. And that includes a span of 13 games. This has popped up over near the seats. Encarnacion has room and makes the catch. 2 down, 5 straight retired by Dickey.
First 3 batters of the game, he threw a fastball to him. So it might be that formula: fastball to get ahead, hard knuckleball for strike 2, or the soft knuckleball and then the hard knuckleball.
We have seen all sorts of different approaches. Early in the season when he faced Tampa Bay, they were jumping on the first thing they saw. And then other teams tried that, and Dickey started throwing the knuckleball a little bit harder. And it looks like today he's aware that the Red Sox take a lot of pitches. There's another fastball and another strike.
Yeah, he knows he has to go deep into this ball game, and he knows the Boston Red Sox take a lot of pitches. So he's using the fastball early in the count.
Johnny Gomes gets a knuckleball, rips it foul. Dickey again ahead, 0-2. Josh Tolley says that the sinking fastball hasn't had the movement early in the season that he's used to. There's a good knuckleball, and that's ripped past Lowry into left. Johnny Gomes makes the turn around first. He'll stop right there. First base runner for Boston comes on an 0-2 pitch.
Ball that was up. Tried to throw that one, and it didn't move as much. And Gomes was all over that one. His first career hit off of R.A. Dickey.
Managers always looking for matchups, and Gomes got the nod today. Coming into this game, he was just 0 for 2. Xander Bogaerts has never faced R.A. Dickey, and he falls behind 0-1. Boy, that's a good knuckleball, and that looked like a strike. Dolly caught it very well. Marty Foster, veteran umpire, behind the plate. Outside. Tolley will talk to the umpires throughout the course of a game. Last time he had Seth Buckminster behind the plate, a young umpire. And he just encouraged the young umpire to be a little more patient before he called pitch. And they had an ongoing conversation about, well, you know, I thought that was a pretty good pitch. And the umpire very cordially said, well, I'll have a little bit longer look next time. And you can always get more by being calm behind the plate and have a civil conversation with the umpire.
Yeah. I had that a strike. What did you have? Just ask questions. Be the innocent guy back there, right?
I'm just sitting here looking, and I thought that was a strike, and I guess you saw it better than I did, but before the game is over, you got the umpire in your back pocket. 3-2, 2 outs. Gomes at first will be off on the pitch. Hit on the ground, base hit up the middle. Johnny Gomes going to throw on the brakes quickly as Bautista's got that rifle arm in center. So Bogaerts gets a base hit against Dickey in his first at bat. Looked like that might have been a fastball because Dickey is aware of the walk totals and how much trouble that has given him. So he challenged Bogaerts to put it in play, and he did.
Well, nobody knows how you feel. If he feels more confident that he can get it out with that fastball, go for it. If he's got a good feel for his knuckleball, use it. For me, it looks like his knuckleball is good, but it's complemented with a fastball and a slower knuckleball. Looks like he's keeping it in the strike zone a little consistent.
Jackie Bradley Jr. A ball on the strike. The center fielder. Boy, I have been impressed with Bradley Jr. the way he covers ground in center. I can see why he's forced Grady Sizemore to the corners.
He says, I've always been able to play defense. Never a problem with that.
This is popped up in shallow left field. Cabrera's not going to get it. Johnny Gomes comes around third. He will score, and Jackie Bradley Jr. has given the Red Sox a 1-0 lead. 3 consecutive 2-out singles, and the Red Sox have jumped out early.
Little blooper out into no man's land. Good effort by Cabrera to try and run that one down, but he has to play it conservatively early in the game. If he knows he can't dive for it and catch it, he's got to back off, or that ball's going to bounce over his head for extra bases.
The catcher, David Ross, batting ninth, with Bogaerts at second, Bradley at first, and there's a first pitch strike. First time through the order, Dickey has thrown 7 first pitch strikes. One and one. R.A. Dickey making his 6th career start against the Red Sox. Big swing and a miss. It's interesting, Dickey only made 2 starts against Boston last year, which is kind of unusual. He had an .853 earned run average, and the Sox hit over 300 against him. His mound opponent today, John Lester, made 6 starts against the Blue Jays. Just a quirk of his schedule. 1 and 2, 2 outs. On the ground, Reyes hits short. He'll flip to second to end the inning, but Boston comes through with 2 outs, 3 singles. They've taken a 1-0 lead.
on Sportsnet. Brought to you by the 2014 Honda CR-V. Honda, proud to be the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays. And by Home Hardware, homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
Sorry, Dickey bobblehead day, and the bobblehead is making his way around the aquarium next door to Rogers Center. Blue Jays trail 1-0. 4, 5, and 6 for the Jays here in the second. Lester falls behind 2-0. Edwin Encarnacion did not start the game yesterday. You can see the Red Sox play that shift.
Don't you find that interesting how far away the first baseman is to the bag? Look at that. Look how far he has to go on a grounder.
He's halfway between first and second. The only other first baseman I've ever seen that has played that far away from first is Lyle Oakland. Of course, he played here for the Blue Jays for a long time. Napoli, boy, he's got to make a quick decision.
Yeah, you watch the flight of the ball, and you watch the barrel of the bat. And as a first baseman, when you play that far off, you have to play in the line. And your first reaction when a guy pulls the ball is to what as a fielder? Go to the ball. As a first baseman, you got to go the other way. So you have to be a good athlete, and Napoli is a very good athlete. And he's got to watch the barrel of the bat. As soon as it's pulled, he's got to go back to the bag.
Full count, 3-2. The Red Sox have shifted according to the counts throughout this entire series, but with Encarnacion, they stay put. Full count. Drill down the left side. That is a foul ball. Jeff Kellogg, the third base umpire, camped himself right out on the foul line, and we have had a couple of close calls on either foul line so far. And the Blue Jays have hit them both.
That was a great example, I thought, of a pitch that looked like it was going to be a strike, and then the cutting action came so far inside, the only thing they can do was yank that ball foul. Too close to take. Yeah. Tough to keep that ball fair.
Had a good rip at that pitch. Lester's career record against Blue Jays, 15-7 started this game. And the Blue Jays have actually hit him hard on occasion. They touched him up for 4 home runs back in 2012 at Fenway. There's a ball hit hard. Jackie Bradley Jr. almost overran it. It looked like that ball was hit so hard it knuckled on Bradley Jr. We told you he was a good outfielder.
He has made a couple of plays that look off the bat like they were going to be extra base hits, but he gets a great jump. Look at him take off. And you're right, so much so that he almost overruns it. He gets great jumps, takes good routes, and he's very fast. He covers a lot of ground.
When that ball is hit so hard and it's squared up, it literally takes the spin off the ball, much like Dickey's knuckleball, and you just never know where it's going to go. Laurie goes after the first pitch. We mentioned Lester giving up 4 home runs to the Blue Jays, and Brett Laurie hit the first pitch of that ball game out of the ballpark to set the tone. That came late in July in 2012. It's the only 4-homer game of Lester's career came at the hands of the Blue Jays. J.P. Arancibia, Rajay Davis, and Travis Snyder all connected. Laurie pulls it foul. The Blue Jays have also put up the most runs allowed by John Lester, 11 in that game in July and 9 in a game in 2010 in August. So the Jays have had their moments against John Lester, but he still has the upper hand.
Well, you would think that you face him enough. You're not going to get the A guy every single time. What was his record against him?
15-7.
22 decisions.
95, but downstairs another full count. Good job covering that outside pitch. Laurie went after it and was able to stay alive. Second career home run against John Lester, and just like that, it's all tied up.
Brett has been swinging aggressively, and when he's been getting his pitches that have been up in the strike zone, he's been hitting them hard and hitting them out of the ballpark. Looked like an off-speed pitch from Lester that he shook to something off-speed, and he hung it. Cut, up, and out. Right over the middle of the plate.
Juan Francisco gets the start against Lester. This is his first at-bat against the Red Sox. Take a look at the last two pitches that Brett Lawrie saw from Lester. That was a good pitch, and he made that swing to set up this home run. He was able to keep the at-bat alive.
That looked like a fastball, straight fastball that he fouled off, and he was a little bit tardy. Then they threw the cut fastball. And a great spot for Lawrie, and a great speed to speed up his bat where he could get the barrel out in front.
On Francisco. Laurie's home run is 6th of the season. Only Bautista has more for the Jays.
19 RBIs from Brett Lawrie in the first month of the season.
That's a new personal record for Lawrie for any month of his young baseball career. He also had 18 RBIs his first month in the big leagues, August 2011. So he's set a new career high for RBIs in a single month. Francisco, after the short meeting on the mound, takes it upstairs. Juan Francisco is a powerful man. He has 2 home runs already. He's only hit 173 against lefty pitching in his career. Had a good rip at that fastball. But John Gibbons inserts him in the lineup against Lester just to give a little more pop. Moises Sierra started in yesterday's game.
Yeah, a little bit more pop, and you know, if they knock Lester out, if a right-hander comes in, he is able to do this off of Tazawa. Watch where that ball lands in dead center field. That's a long way from home plate.
Yesterday, leading off the 8th inning, and kind of sparked a mini rally as Blue Jays scored a pair to get back in the game. Hanging tough. Blue Jays got Juan Francisco after the Milwaukee Brewers let him go at the end of spring training. And the Brewers like the way he swings the bat. He just didn't have a position to play in the National League. He seemed perfectly suited for an American League ball club. Chases that pitch off the plate, and Lester strikes him out. Well, with John Lester, you're going to get a variety of pitches, and he throws the fastball and a cutter almost exclusively.
Combine that cutter and the fastball, because it's about the same pitch, about the same speed, and you've got that fastball working about 84% of the time. I think he's really good when he's got that curveball working along with the changeup. He starts dropping that little curveball in there to throw off your timing a little bit. He's doubly tough. But we've said it before, his ability to go glove side, which is the inside part to a right-hander, and arm side, which is the outside part to a right-hander, that's where he makes his money.
Two pitches just off the plate inside. It's a ball and a strike.
I like what we've seen so far from the right-handed hitters being patient on that borderline pitch on the inner half.
And you're going to see a few of them do that. That's the cutter that is right in on their fists. And when you make contact, chances are it's going to hit right down into your feet. And he is feeling the impact.
He took a couple of borderline ones, and now that one's a little bit better, and that's right off the instep on the inner half. You say, well, how could that be? How do you do that? You just get that barrel out in front.
This is the heat map for Jon Lester against right-handed batters, and he's going to make you aware of the inner half of the plate. That's where his strength is, and that's what we've been talking about as far as the glove side command.
Fastballs, and he'll throw that cutter in there. It looks like a fastball, and I think the right-handed batters have got to make sure that that pitch is a strike. That's what Jose Bautista was talking about before the game. Make sure it's a strike. When he throws it, he has the ability, it looks like a strike, and then wipes off the plate and comes inside. Let's watch it one more time where this ball hits him. Well, it looked like more like the ankle. And trying to walk it off.
Boy, and Kobe Rasmus is the next in line, obviously, if Sierra can't continue. But, boy, you saw where that ball hit him. It appeared to be right above that ankle bone, and there's not much flesh there to protect you, and they're going to put a shin guard on it now.
So if you're the catcher, what pitch are you throwing right now?
I'm probably going to come inside again.
Throw that cutter inside. As a hitter, you're afraid to swing.
Yeah.
Watch this ball.
Oh. And if you just feel down around your ankle, then feel where those bones are so close to the surface. That's what's frightening about something like this that hits just in the back near his Achilles tendon. And we have seen more than one player over the years suffer a broken bone on a foul tip, and one of them is playing second base right now for the Boston Red Sox. Dustin Pedroia broke his foot in interleague play a couple of years ago against the Giants. We've seen Jermaine Dye, Matt Williams. Several players have suffered broken bones on what looks to be an innocent little foul ball like that, and Dustin Pedroia can tell you sometimes they turn into massive injuries. So Sierra will continue the at-bat. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. And Lester strikes him out. He went away and threw the changeup. 2 strikeouts in the inning. But Brett Lawrie hits his second career home run against Jon Lester. For Lawrie, number 6, and it tied the game at 1-1.
On Sportsnet, brought to you by the 2014 Honda CR-V. Honda, proud to be the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
The R.A. Dickey bobblehead is making his way around Rogers Center. He's come over from the aquarium. Now he's inside And that mojo is helped out as Brett Lawrie hit a home run. It's a 1-1 game. Dickey pitching on his bobblehead day. Does a first pitch strike to Dustin Pedroia. Pedroia grounded out to short his first time up.
That's the kind of swing that you're looking for right there if you're already Dickey. That over-aggressive swing from Pedroia. And this is where Pedroia gets really tough. He led the American League last year in 2-strike hits with 91 of them. Not this time.
78 upstairs, and Pedroia strikes out. That's 3 strikeouts for Dickey.
You want to get batters starting to swing hard. You don't want them under control when they're trying to hit the knuckleball because it's moving so much, and that time Pedroia loves that high one. Comes up empty.
Grady Sizemore struck out in the first. So far, Dickey's had the ability to throw first pitch strikes.
That one just 73 miles an hour, so changing speeds much better with it.
There's a harder one. He likes the one that's up around 90. I asked Josh Tolle if he had a sign for the slow knuckleball and the hard knuckleball. He said, nope, it's all up to R.A. Dickey. That's how he feels when he delivers that pitch. But they had talked about the value of changing speeds with the knuckleball. And Dickey has done that effectively early on.
Yeah. I think as a hitter, and he's worked with that with Pete Walker here, as a hitter, you see the same speed, the same speed. By the third time, your timing gets down.
Grady Sizemore has struck out twice already this afternoon. R.A. Dickey strikes out the first 2 here in the top of the 3rd.
Great movement. And this one in a great spot. That one's tumbling just a little bit more. And Sizemore gives up on it. 4 strikeouts now.
Mike Napoli, one of those 4 strikeouts. He goes after the first pitch and got it right up in his wheelhouse. Napoli is a high ball hitter, and he loves that ball upstairs, and he didn't hesitate. Went right after that pitch and ripped it into center. The Red Sox rallied for a run in the second after 2 were out. Napoli gets his base hit with 2 outs. A.J. Pierzynski lined out to the shortstop. His first time up. Red Sox, second time through the order, are all over that first pitch. They say, okay, we'll play that game.
Yeah, and remember we talked about that first time through. He was throwing a fastball, and he was throwing first pitch strikes. So the veteran hitters, they know what's going on.
Well, and that's the beauty of having experience catching Dickey. Josh Tolle knows that you're going to have to mix it up. And he can sense, okay, these guys are swinging now. We're going to try something different. Looked like a fastball. He wanted it inside and missed all the way across the plate.
And that's exactly what you were just talking about, mixing it up right there. Don't stay with that same pattern. Maybe you throw the hard knuckleball early and then finish it off this time through with the soft knuckleball.
And he did. Pierzynski looks baffled as he looks at R.A. Dickey. He's 0 for 2. Dickey strikes out the side. R.A. Dickey mixing it up. That looks like a changeup down and away. happens every Sunday on the home games. The Blue Jays pay special tribute to the Canadian Forces. Today, they salute Chief Warrant Officer Brian Keith Pierce. Pierce has served 28 years with the Canadian Air Forces, both with Canadian Army and the Royal Canadian Air Force. He has served on 2 tours overseas in 1991 during the first Gulf War, 2010 on Operation Athena in the Task Force Afghanistan. And we are proud to salute you here today, Chief Warrant Officer Brian Keith Pierce. Josh Tolley, the catcher, off to a great start this season with the bat. .526 average with a pair of RBIs. Hits it fair inside the bag at third. Tolley has another hit. Josh Tolley in his first at bat against John Lester. Singles inside the bag at third.
And Josh says, I'm going to go back to the guy I was when I was with the Mets. I'm going to try and use the whole field, slash the ball the other way. Kevin Seitzer has been a big influence on him. He felt like last year that he was trying to hit the ball too hard and trying to hit the ball too far. That's not his game. His game is to spray it around like that.
Got a 5-game hit streak, 8 for his last 12. He's now 11 for 20 on the season. And he's done a good job. And you talk about spreading out the defense. Jonathan Diaz, the number 9 hitter, squares to bunt and bunts it foul.
Here's what's going to be hard if you put the bunt on. Because that cutter is coming towards you, it's going to be hard to try and bunt it to the right side of the infield. You got to really get that bat out in front and catch the ball out in front. That ball cutting like that, you got your bat at your 45-degree angle, you might end up bunting it right to Will Middlebrooks at third.
0-1. Diaz squares again, pulls the bat back. In a situation like this, we used to see hitters get up in the front of the batter's box. So that way, if you make contact, chances are it's going to be fair. So the further you get in the front of the batter's box, the bigger percentage you have of bunting the ball fair.
And you catch that ball before it breaks.
Diaz punts a great one. Lester comes over into the line and cuts off the path, then flips to Pedroia. Good job by Jonathan Diaz. He pushes Tolley to second. Well, number 9 hitters in this Blue Jays lineup, they have to execute fundamentally, and Diaz just does that. So that turns the lineup over, which is always a benefit. Top of the order is potent for the Blue Jays. Jose Reyes flied out to right field his first time up. David Ross got hit. I don't know if he got hit by the bat or got hit by the foul tip, but Reyes swinging at that slow breaking ball, took a hand off the bat, and watch the bat as it comes around. Indeed, it was the bat that hit him on the back of the catching hand. That will happen, especially on slow pitches, because the hitter is fooled. He's out in front. He takes that top hand off the bat, and watch how he extends behind. And Ross, trying to get his glove out there to make a catch on it, exposed himself to that bat. Well, there's that arm side command. Paints the corner down and away. Jose Reyes hasn't had a lot of fun against John Lester. He's 0 for 1 today, 1 for 17 in his career. And there's a strikeout. His 4th of the afternoon. Lester working both sides of the plate to Reyes.
Yeah, anytime you see a hitter strike out and then look back out on the mound, you know he's got respect for what he is seeing that day. That is the cutter. And Jose swings right over the top of it. Just cannot come up with it. Doesn't see it. And he looked out there saying, man, that is a nasty pitch. Why did you pick on me that time?
And he had thrown him a good fastball down and away for a strike. 2 outs. Look out, Melky. You know, you and I were both right-handed hitters, and we always enjoyed facing lefties. Felt like we had a chance. John Lester's not left-handed. He's nasty. And he makes you do so many things to try to cover the plate. 17 inches wide, and you got a lot to cover, and he can make you aware of both sides of the plate.
Well, think about this. Think about inside and outside with a fastball, four-seamer and cutter. If you can command those 4 pitches, that's 4 different pitches that you got to deal with.
There's a bouncing ball fair up the first baseline. Josh Tolley is coming in to score. Here's the throw from Gomes, not in time at second. Melky Cabrera has put the Blue Jays on top.
John Gibbons says that Melky Cabrera, good, bad, or indifferent, he's the same guy every day. He comes to hit, he comes to play. Inside out, that ball hits it down the other way, and then with a hard, aggressive slide, he grabs the bag. Another extra base hit for Cabrera.
And he extends his hit streak with his 7th double of the season. He's now hit in 9 straight. He has gotten a hit in all but 1 game this year. And Bautista with a chance to add to the Blue Jays lead. Bautista felt like he got hit by that pitch. Marty Foster said no. Curveball. And there was an extra little sound in there.
Yeah, it looked and sounded like that ball might have hit him. Sweeping curveball from Lester. Bautista gives up on it and did hit his pant leg.
Bautista hits it high into center. But Jackie Bradley Jr. is there, and the inning is over, but the Blue Jays get a pair of hits and a run. They've taken the lead. Melky Cabrera with the RBI. Previous pitch, he got hit by a pitch, and watch the pant leg and the back leg there as that ball hits him, and he made a step toward first base, and this will show you clearly. Watch the ball and that back leg.
Sweeping curveball.
There's the contact, and Bautista indeed got hit by the pitch, made a step toward first, and umpire Marty Foster said no, but that's a reviewable play by instant replay.
You've played with guys, especially RBI guys, who don't want to be hit in that situation.
Well, I think that's why Bautista just stayed put.
Yeah.
Didn't put much
no, it didn't
of an argument.
Didn't hit me. Joe Carter was like that. If he had runners on base and he had a chance to drive in runs and a ball clipped him like that, he'd go, no, it didn't hit me. He wanted to drive him in. That's what Jose wants to do.
And the way he's swinging the bat, you can't blame him. Well, Middlebrooks gets underneath it and lifts a high pop-up. Reyes back into left field, gets under it and makes the catch.
The 2014 Honda CR-V. Honda, proud to be the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
R.A. Dickey bobblehead day here at Rogers Center. Good crowd on hand. Yesterday there were 40,000 in attendance at Rogers Center. Appears to be that many again today. Johnny Gomes started the second inning rally with a 0-2 two-out single to left field. Came around to score on the RBI by Jackie Bradley Jr.
Look at that, 65 miles an hour. He really is mixing in those slower knuckleballs.
Johnny Gomes hits it high in the air down the left side, and Melky Cabrera gets there in foul ground, makes the catch. 2 fly outs here in the fourth.
Throwing strikes early is getting the Boston Red Sox batters in swing mode. They're up there really cutting and slashing and hacking up there against Dickey. That's exactly where he wants them.
Tanner Bogarts with the ball on a strike, and Dickey has been ahead all afternoon. 13 of 16 first pitch strikes. There's a fastball that missed outside. Seems like he's got a good feel for the velocity no matter what the pitch is to that.
Yeah, instead of just sticking to that hard knuckleball, which is basically one pitch, he's got a slow knuckleball, hard knuckleball, and he's using a fastball more than we've ever seen.
R.A. Dickey's on a roll. He strikes out Bogarts. Red Sox go down in order, 3 up, 3 down. Strikeout number 6 for Dickey. The Jays have a 2-1 lead. Listen to the NBA playoffs as the Raptors try to even the series with Brooklyn at a game apiece. The Raptors and Nets. Game 4 tonight at 7 Eastern. Sportsnet 590 The Fan. You can hear it all. Of course, that would even the series at 2 games apiece. Jerry Howarth and Joe Siddle in the Fan 590 broadcast booth, bringing you all the baseball action here this afternoon. Blue Jays have a 2-1 lead against John Lester. Edwin Encarnacion takes that changeup off the plate outside. 2-0.
Done a good job of being very patient with Lester so far in this game.
Well, it's very difficult because Lester is so challenging. He throws hard, so that makes you want to get the bat started. But you know you can't be too aggressive because, as you mentioned earlier, a lot of those pitches that start on the plate break off the plate before they get to the hitter zone.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. You have to change your sights just a little bit as a right-handed batter.
Brett Lawrie waits on deck. Lawrie homered to even the score, and there's a fastball away. Look at the pattern of pitches. It's all over the map. In, out, up, down, and he really poses a problem for hitters. Lester and Ross having trouble getting their heads together. Ross wanted he says, I want that curveball. Throw me the curveball now. No, looks like they're going with a changeup. And for a second time, Encarnacion hits it, and Jackie Bradley Jr. takes another hit away. That's 3 straight at bats that Edwin Encarnacion has lined out to the center fielder.
Stay there. You're staying in the middle of the field. Don't change anything, Edwin. You're going to start getting hot. This is the first changeup that Lester throws Encarnacion in this at bat, and he's all over it. And he came that close to getting a base hit. Stay calm. You're going to be okay. Those at bats, those last 3 that we have seen from Encarnacion, shows me he's ready to bust.
Well, and Edwin lined out to center to end yesterday's game with a chance to put the Blue Jays on top and win it. So it's frustrating for him to hit the ball so well 3 straight at bats and have nothing to show for it. Brett Lawrie mentioned his home run. That tied the score at 1-1. And Lester comes right back and jumps ahead 0-2. Upstairs, a 3-pitch strikeout. Lester used that fastball and elevated the pitch. John Lester, as a hitter, put yourself in the batter's box. So what can you do to kind of counteract all those?
Well, the Blue Jays have 7 right-handed batters in there, and the cutter is such a dangerous pitch. And when I talk about setting your sights a little bit differently, that ball that you think is right there going to be a strike, you have to lay off of it, because by the time it gets to home plate, it's going to come in and it's going to be a ball. So you have to set your sights a little bit further out over the plate and watch for that cutter and think about it as you're trying to hit. He reminds me a lot of Jim Abbott. Do you remember Jim Abbott? He used to pitch for the Angels. Same type of player. Left-handed, he could just bury that ball in on the right-hander. Even if you knew it was coming and you would swing at it, he'd still break you back.
Yeah, he had that cutter that was so effective, and it forced switch hitters like Robbie Alomar to hit left-handed against him because he got that ball inside, and that's a great point. If you change your sights maybe 6 inches and say, I'm going to start out there, that's where I want the ball. And if it's not there, then you don't swing.
And the Blue Jay hitters have done a good job of being very patient on that inside part of the plate. They're taking a page out of the Boston Red Sox playbook and using it on John Lester to get his pitch count up there.
Popped up left side of the infield. Will Middlebrooks over near the foul line. John Lester has a 1-2-3 inning. We've played 4. It's 1-1. Now it's time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zorn. 2014 baseball season with MLB.tv. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live or on demand in HD quality. Watch up to 4 games at once with multi-game viewing. Season subscriptions start at $129.99. Visit BlueJays.com for more details. Jackie Bradley Jr., the number 8 hitter, takes a pitch outside. Bradley Jr. drove in the Red Sox run. It was a 2-out single to the left. On the ground, Reyes backhand, rights himself, and throws to first for the out. One down. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. James Shields against Miguel Gonzalez. That's the pitching matchup. Omar Infante picked up the RBI with that ground out. You're right, Jamie. You don't see Adam Jones make too many balls, but looked as though he was looking back up into the sun and tried to backhand it and got fooled, and the ball clanged off his glove.
With those two pitchers going today, there might not be a lot of runs scored.
Good news for the Blue Jays is that they will miss James Shields in Kansas City. Catcher David Ross, batting 192 for the season. Pops it up. Shallow left. Reyes going back. Gets under it and makes the catch. 2 down. Well, John Lester had a good inning in the bottom of the 4th, and he was met in the dugout by Brian Butterfield. Now, this suggests to me that Butterfield wanted to check with Lester about the defense. Are you going to change the way you're pitching a guy? Is my defense set up the way you want to? Brian Butterfield never misses a beat, and he wanted to make sure he checks with the starting pitcher.
They coordinate that defense to go along with scouting reports and pitching charts and things like that. And if he senses or sees that Lester might be pitching a little bit differently, he wants to make sure that they're all on the same page and he's got his defense behind him where they need to be.
So then Butterfield finished up with Lester, and Lester goes to talk to his catcher to make sure they're all on the same page. And there's Juan Nieves, the pitching coach, listening in. Lots of communication going on in that dugout. Pedroia hits a 2-hopper to third. Ari Dickey. 3 up, 3 down in the 5th. Dickey and the Blue Jays have a 1-run lead. Blue Jays in 60 seconds for the biggest at-bats and every game-changing play. Blue Jays in 60 seconds after every game, only on Sportsnet.ca. Well, you saw John Lester talking to Brian Butterfield. Then he went and talked to his catcher, David Ross, and then he goes out to the field and he stopped and had a chat with the umpire. He's having a visit with Marty Foster, the home plate umpire. It's all intriguing, and might be Lester checking in, saying, you know, those balls you're calling inside, are they off the plate? You want me to make adjustments with that? Interesting. Moises Sierra breaks his bat, and that's going to be a pop-up caught right near second as Lester got in on his fists and pops him up. Lester now has retired 5 straight after the Melky Cabrera RBI double. Well, Josh Tolle has scored. He scored the second run in a.
There is not much you can do with this pitch right here. Look how it's barreling in on him. And look at the bat shattered all around home plate. That's an explosion right there.
Looked like a wood chipper. He threw that and got it right in on the pine tar of Moises Sierra. Josh Tolle singled and scored in the third. That gave the Blue Jays a 2-1 lead. Ball on a strike. Look at the left fielder, Grady Sizemore, and the third baseman, Will Middlebrooks, how they have moved closer to the left field line after Tolle hit one just inside the bag at third.
They've seen the scouting reports, and you know Josh Tolle is not trying to pull John Lester. That would be foolish.
And that might be the point of the conversation with Brian Butterfield. Hey, you want me to move those left field defenders, the left fielder and the third baseman, closer to the line?
Well, his single went down the left field line.
There's a 3-hopper, and Pedroia stays on his feet and throws Tolle out.
You know, and Melky's hit went down the right field line, so maybe they will push those corner infielders a little closer to the line.
Keep an eye on that as the game progresses. Lots of conversation going on. A.J. Brzezinski is the other catcher. He too is talking to Butterfield. And of course, Brian Butterfield knows the Blue Jays very well, having been here for a long time as a coach.
12 years Butter was here as a coach. He knows everybody.
2 outs, and Jonathan Diaz had a sacrifice bunt that moved the runner along in the third. Diaz was presented with his 2013 World Series ring by the Red Sox yesterday before the game in private ceremony. It's pretty cool. He got to show it off to everybody. They give you a beautifully engraved box, has your name on it and everything, and that's the World Series ring.
Boy, was he ever proud of that thing, and why not? Chance doesn't know how he's going to get it home right now. Not real sure. Says it'll go in the lock box, in the safety deposit box in the bank.
3 balls and a strike. Reyes waiting on deck. There are 2 down. He's taking all the way. The borderline pitch is a strike. Reyes 0 for 2 so far. Boy, if you could build a left-handed pitcher, you'd use John Lester as the mold. Big strapping guy. Of course, he has beaten cancer early in his career, but terrific delivery, great balance. Pulled on the ground. Third baseman Middlebrooks guns across the diamond. 3 up, 3 down. Blue Jays have a 2-1 lead. Fans, here come the Home Hardware cleanup crew. Brought to you by Natura, Home Hardware's exclusive line of safe, environmentally friendly cleaning products. 5 innings of work so far this season, and first time through the order for the season, he was very effective, and then the average jumps a bit, 80 points in the third time, and this is where he's really got to focus. He is in the third time through the batting order right now. Prior to this game, the league has hit .440 against him, third time through the batting order.
Yeah, this is where we are. Grady Sizemore will lead off the 6th inning, and for most pitchers, it's a matter of information third time through. The hitter has you figured out. But for Dickey, I mean, all you're seeing is the knuckleball. So that's been the mystery for him so far this season.
Well, the reason he has been as effective, he's thrown everything today. He's used the fastball. He struck out A.J. Pierzynski to end the third on a changeup. He's used the soft knuckleball and the hard knuckleball. So he's used a little bit of everything to neutralize a veteran lineup. Sizemore behind 0-2. Bouncing ball. Diaz comes and makes the play. 1 down.
The 2014 Honda CR-V. Honda, proud to be the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Dickey's retired 8 straight Red Sox hitters. Dickey and Lester have both settled in here in the middle innings. John Lester has retired 7 straight. Mike Napoli had a single to center back in the third. Two and 0. Home run cut and fouls it back. Got a fastball.
Yeah, good for him that he challenged him with the fastball. Mike Napoli has worn out the Jays here at this ballpark, but Dickey just enough of that here to have Napoli foul it back.
Popped up, back over the screen, and well out of play. Two balls and 2 strikes. This one is playable. Jonathan Diaz over into left field. He gives way to Melky Cabrera. That was an interesting situation. Diaz called off the shortstop as he was positioned up the middle at the start of the play. And then Melky Cabrera came in and made the right call.
You're right, and shortstops usually have pop-up priority over any infielders, but it didn't look like Reyes had a real good gauge of that ball. You can see Diaz calling him off, but then the outfielder has priority over the infield, and a much easier play right there by Melky.
You're going to see some unusual developments because of the exaggerated shifts. And Jonathan Diaz did just exactly what he should have done. He went after it. A.J. Pierzynski. He struck out and looked back to Dickey as he was the third out of the third inning, as if to say, what was that? And it was a changeup. And now it's a 3-0 count. Well, right here you can bet A.J. Pierzynski is selling out to the fastball.
And looking to hook it too. Hook it into right field. Looked like he got the fastball right there, but it wasn't a pitch that he could pull.
And there's one he pulled but fouled. So Dickey, after falling behind 3-0, has a full count. Will Middlebrooks is on deck. He's popped out twice against Dickey. trying to come inside and missed all the way across the plate. Totally was set up inside and looked like a fastball.
That might have been his best fastball of the afternoon right there. Looked like it said 84 miles an hour.
There's a knuckleball at 77. So he's back and forth very effectively. Now Toley wants to talk about it.
Do you want to throw that changeup again like we did last time? That's a pitch that got AJ.
What do you think? Well, you beat him with the good fastball and you missed your spot inside, and then he fouled off the knuckleball. What do you want to do here? Three-two pitch. Broken bat. Reyes is there. Takes the big hop. Takes his time. And the inning is over. Dickey has retired 10 straight. When we come back, it'll be the top of the order. Jose Reyes, Melky Cabrera. A 10-game hit streak extended. Jose Bautista. With the Jays night is presented by Honda. Tuesday, June 24th, the Blue Jays will take on the New York Yankees. Game time is 7:07 p.m. The Jays will give away T-shirts to the first 15,000 fans, and they want you to help pick out the T-shirt. Vote on Twitter by using the hashtag ConnectJays and the T-shirt selection that you would like to see. For more information, visit BlueJays.com/T-shirt vote. Jose Reyes is 0 for 2. Blue Jays have just 3 hits. This is popped up right side of the infield. Mike Napoli, the first baseman, makes the catch in fair territory. 1 down. Reyes is 0 for 3. So Melky Cabrera came into the ballgame as a .278 hitter against John Lester. He's 1 for 2 with an RBI double. That double extended his personal hit streak to 10 games. He has hit in 24 of the 25 Blue Jay games they've played.
Gibby was talking about him the other day, and he said, I've never seen him bad when he's healthy. Last year, I think, doesn't count. Melky just wasn't healthy last season. But he says, I've never seen him when he's bad. He's always played well. Gibby was in Kansas City when he had that big year with the Royals.
John Gibbons and Kevin Seitzer have seen him as good as he can be. It's a high fly ball to left field. Brady Sizemore is there. 2 down. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. How about the New York Mets? They're 13-11. They're getting very good pitching. And finally, Curtis Granderson's come up with some big hits of late, and they've done a pretty nice job.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of their starters. Dylan G. and Jonathan Neese. I mean, not a lot of household names on the Mets, but they're getting the job done.
Jose Bautista takes a strike. It's 1-1. Downstairs. Bautista's 0 for 2. A couple of flyouts.
Wow, nasty. Right there. Not much you can do with that pitch from John Lester.
This is generally what you expect when you have two number ones on the mound. Lester has retired 9 straight. Dickey has retired 10 straight in the middle innings. Bautista trying to get to that inside pitch. Sit off the end of the bat. Boy, this really screams for a pitch down and away, doesn't it? Whether it's a changeup or a fastball. Coming inside again. And Lester strikes out Bautista. John Lester has retired 10 straight. We've played 6 complete at Rogers Center. The Blue Jays and Dickey have a 2-1 lead. Comfy chairs in a TD Comfort Zone. Our guests of TD, welcome to Rogers Center. Hope you're enjoying this great game this afternoon. While over in the Jays Care Community Clubhouse, our folks from Blue Jays Baseball Academy Rookie League. Welcome to the ballpark, and we are seeing a couple of very good pitchers hooked up in a good pitchers duel. R.A. Dickey bobblehead day, and he has pitched himself into a good situation. Dickey, as we mentioned, has retired 10 straight. That ball goes off the glove of Tolley, back to the screen. Will Middlebrooks. He's popped up twice.
This guy is a threat right here. He's got 5 home runs in his young career in this ballpark.
It's his 14th game in this ballpark, and he gets underneath that. Lifts it high in the air. Into the seats, out of play.
Looks like he's trying to lift the ball, too. Trying to get something in the air. Trying to get extra base hits. You got to respect that power.
Well, they moved him up into the 5th spot in this lineup today. He hit 7th yesterday and 8th on Friday night. He's trying to lift, and it's hard to lift that high pitch. Brett Cecil starting to loosen up. Dickey's only thrown 87 pitches. He's in pretty good shape in that regard.
Yeah, and it's been the off-speed knuckleball too.
And there he hits Middlebrooks. So he'll take first base. That's how the inning starts. We're in the 7th inning. So that snaps a streak of 10 straight retired by R.A. Dickey, and he hits Middlebrooks on the left forearm. Dickey working out of the stretch for the first time since the 3rd inning. Pete Walker checking on the status of Brett Cecil. And now he will have Delabar join Cecil.
Or Cecil sit down. That was close over at first base.
Arnie Bailey, the first base coach, visiting with Will Middlebrooks. Hey, remember, Dickey's got a quick move.
Quick. And on target. You can see the high tag from Encarnacion just a little late.
Johnny Gomes, the right fielder. Takes strike 1. Pops it up. First baseman Encarnacion comes in, makes the grab. Gomes is retired. 1 down. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. That's the organist that has taken a place up there high in center field. That's a good spot for him. That's wide open out there.
That's our spot. We've been wanting to do a game from out there.
We're going to have to do a game from out there. I think it'd be a great vantage point. Yeah, they've done a nice job of bringing the old time organ music into the ballpark. 1 out. Xander Bogaerts has singled and struck out. 7th inning. Will Middlebrooks is at first. Dickey hit him with a pitch. Dickey's been good today.
He certainly has. Pitching deep into the game, just what they need. And his team has the lead. That's something that we haven't been able to say for a while. And now Delabar has joined Brett Cecil. You know, no one knows his teams better than the manager. Ari has been dealing.
There he delivers a fastball strike. 3-1, 1 out. We're in this 7th inning, and you can see John Gibbons continues to look up at that Red Sox lineup, thinking about the matchups, thinking about who they have on their bench. Carp, Herrera, and Victorino. There's a base hit down the left side. Melky Cabrera can't cut it off. Middlebrooks is headed to third. The throw goes to second, and Bogaerts slides in head first with the double. Xander Bogaerts, his 2nd hit of the afternoon. And I think both of them have been on fastballs.
He's got some bat speed. And that's exactly what he hit. John Gibbons, like I said, nobody knows his players better than the manager. And he knew something heading into this inning with R.A. Dickey, and he's out to bring in a reliever.
So R.A. Dickey with a good start on R.A. Dickey bobblehead day will turn things over to the bullpen. Steve Delabar making his 12th appearance of the season in relief of R.A. Dickey. Runners at second and third, one out. Jackie Bradley Jr., the batter.
Third time that we have seen Steve on this homestand right here, and this is what John Gibbons likes to do. If his pitcher is in trouble, he's got some weapons out of the bullpen for strikeouts, and that's what he's looking for right now. He needs a strikeout or a pop-up from Steve Delabar.
2-0. R.A. Dickey, 6 1/3, 5 hits, no walks, and 6 strikeouts.
Yeah, he was outstanding.
The no walks, very significant. This is his 6th start of the season. He's walked a batter in every start, and every start a year ago, 34 starts, he had a walk. This is his first game pitching for the Blue Jays in which he didn't walk a batter. And now he needs some help from the bullpen. Middlebrooks hit by a pitch is at third. Bogart's doubled. He's at second. Ogle powered him with that fastball. Delabar inheriting 2 base runners. Fastball popped up. Playable for Laurie in foul ground. He makes the catch. 2 down.
We're halfway there. A pop-up for a strikeout. And Delabar, who's been perfect this year in stranding runners.
0 for 4 coming into this game, and he's inherited the 2 as we mentioned. So now David Ross, the catcher, in the 9th spot. Bradley Jr. in his first at bat against Delabar popped up. David Ross has not faced Steve Delabar. These are the subtle things that managers think about in a tough situation. Delabar's been throwing the ball well. He's got an excellent assortment of pitches, and you give a veteran hitter like David Ross somebody he hasn't faced before, you get a chance to get out of the inning.
And when you bring him in is a big thing also. Steve Delabar has proven in his career that he can come in tight situation with his stuff and finish off innings for you, get you out of some trouble.
Two outs. Blew it right by him. 95. Ball and a strike. Blue Jays with a 2-1 lead in the top of the 7th. Got a good fastball today. Center. Bautista back, looking at the wall. He's got room, and Delabar does his job. Comes in with second and third and 1 out, protecting a 1-run lead. He keeps that lead intact. R.A. Dickey in line for the win. Mother's Day is coming up next month, and why not treat Mom today at the ballpark? Sunday, May 11th, the Blue Jays take on Albert Pujols and the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. The game starts at 1:07 p.m. Take part in all the activities around the ballpark. For tickets to the Mother's Day game, call the Blue Jays at 416-341-1234 or log on at BlueJays.com to order your tickets for Mother's Day baseball right here at Rogers Center. Good crowd on hand again this afternoon, and they are being treated to a heck of a ball game. John Lester and R.A. Dickey, the starters in the game, and Edwin Encarnacion takes a vicious rip. Popped up and out of play behind the Red Sox dugout.
It's been a timing issue with Edwin, but right now it looks like his timing is getting there. For him, it all starts with the lower half. You can get that lower half back right when the pitcher is getting ready to let go. That's when you're going to see him start to drive the ball.
Tough pitch. Edwin is behind John Lester, 0-2. Bottom of the 7th inning, Blue Jays trying to salvage the final game of this 3-game series. Boston won the opener on Friday night 8-1. They held on to win it 7-6. Blue Jays rallied late in that game. There's not a man in that dugout that wouldn't love to see an extra run or two.
Yeah. Or in the booth.
Slow curveball, and Edwin gets a piece of it to stay alive. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Encarnacion has lined out twice to the center fielder, and those fans right there are saying, hit one to me. I'm a big fan.
I'll tell you, if they're, yeah, they are in the left field bleachers, but they're in the 5th deck. Wouldn't mind seeing that.
Boy, good patience. And look at the pitches that Edwin's had to deal with in this at-bat.
One shot away. Now he's going to come right back in with that cutter.
Brett Laurie is on deck. He came inside off the plate, and it's difficult to take those tough pitches with 2 strikes. Another extended at-bat. Blue Jays battling against John Lester. Ripped to left field. Grady Sizemore can't cut it off. Encarnacion is headed for second, and he'll get there with the slide. Leadoff double for Double E. The drive of the game is brought to you by the 2014 Honda CR-V. Honda, proud to be the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
A long at bat for Brett Laurie, his first time up in the 2nd inning, and then this whammo to left field. That ball is hammered by Laurie for his 6th home run of the season, deep to left field, getting the Blue Jays on the board.
The Blue Jays with that 1-run lead and a leadoff man at second. Brett Laurie with 19 RBIs this month.
His approach now has to be a little bit different than that first time up. He's got to think about moving Encarnacion.
He can drive him in and just stay on the ball, big part of the field. But you got to lay off that inside pitch. Pops this one up. This is where it's really tough for a right-handed hitter. Everybody in the ballpark knows you want to hit the ball on the right side of the infield, and Lester's strong suit is coming inside. That's a tough pitch to inside out.
Inside out, or just try and keep it in the middle of the diamond. What you don't want is a little grounder to the left side.
Over the glove of Middlebrooks, down the left field line. Encarnacion is around third. He's coming in to score. Brett Lawrie with another RBI.
You know he's going to pound you in. He doesn't want you to move that runner, but it doesn't work. He goes down and gets that ball. Watch Middlebrooks, 6'4". He needed to be 6'5". Right down the left field line, and David Ross says, "Get up!" But he's not up high enough. Big run.
Brett Lawrie has now driven in 20 runs this month. Edwin Encarnacion scores from second after his leadoff double. Juan Francisco has gone 0 for 2. Outside. Blue Jays now have 5 hits. They have matched the Red Sox in that department, each club with 5 hits. The pitchers have been stingy this afternoon. High deep drive to right. Johnny Gomes is back. Jackie Bradley Jr. makes the catch. Tagging at second is Brett Lawrie. He moves to third, and Francisco advances the runner. Big Andrew Miller is loose and standing ready in the Red Sox bullpen. The infield is drawn in with Sierra at the plate. Francisco a productive at bat. Blue Jays have an insurance run at third.
We might see the Blue Jays put that contact play on right here. You're towards the bottom of the lineup. You got good speed at third base. See if you could steal a run on a little grounder.
Well, and that's a good point. You've got a left-handed hitter in Josh Thole on deck. So you might gamble. Put the runner in motion. Tolley's had a good day. He's 1 for 2, but against John Lester, and you might say, okay, let's gamble, see if we can't score here.
Got a couple of runs to work with. It'll take an at bat by Sierra where he cuts his swing down a little bit more. Cut it down and don't swing over the top of that cutter.
Stayed on that pitch and fouls it into the seat. The pitch tracker is brought to you by Acer, official partner of the Toronto Blue Jays. Blue Jays are 1-4 on this 6-game homestand so far. Inside off the plate. Sierra's seen enough pitches inside this afternoon and recognized they're off the plate. They have worked him over inside.
Another one. You're right, and he's staying off of it now.
Josh Thole is on deck.
Don't change anything.
Bouncing ball. Here comes Lawrie. Lester can't make the play. Big insurance run, and they gambled. With Tolle, a left-handed hitter on deck, you take the chance of holding that runner. Chances are you're not going to score. Good job by John Gibbons.
Watching Brett Laurie, he was coming all the way. They were going to go on contact. Watch him at third. As soon as he swings it, he's coming. Lester had thoughts of coming home, but it didn't look like he had a good grip on the ball the first time he reached into his glove. And Laurie with that aggressive slide.
Let's give Moises Sierra a lot of credit for laying off those inside pitches. He got one pitch out over the plate and he put it in play. Picks up his second RBI of the season. Big insurance run. Now the Blue Jays have a 3-run lead. Josh Tolle, the catcher. Good swing. Tolle had a tough season at the plate a year ago. He had under 200. And as you heard Pat say earlier, he knew that he had the wrong approach. He was trying to do some damage with his bat instead of just having good at bats and putting the ball in play.
And using the whole field. Being a smart hitter. He has been spraying it around this year. I like how he's choking up.
Yeah, he's got good bat control. He was a .261 career hitter in the National League. Last year with the Blue Jays, he had 175 in 120 at bats. Aaron Loop is loosening up. Dustin Pedroia is the leadoff man for the Red Sox. He's scheduled to hit first in the top half of the 8th inning. Jonathan Diaz making his first start at second base. He's on deck. Tolle squibs it up the third base liner and is foul.
Done a good job of really making John Lester work. This is a season high now in pitches for Lester.
119 pitches thrown by the Red Sox left-hander. Previous high was his last start against the Yankees. He took a 9-3 loss. Gave up 11 hits in just 4 2/3. He's been much better than that today, but he still trails. Wow. What an at-bat. Yeah, he's having a great at-bat. He's had a good day at the plate.
Lester doesn't want to walk him, so he's going to try and challenge him with that heater. Josh doesn't want to strike out, so he's cut his swing down. He's trying to make contact.
Lester finishes off the at-bat with a good breaking ball. Tolle strikes out. That ends the inning, but the Blue Jays get a couple of big runs. Brett Laurie an RBI double, then Moises Sierra a productive at-bat. He drives home Brett Laurie with a grounder back to the pitcher. to the bottom of the 7th with a 2-1 score and gave up doubles to Encarnacion, RBI double to Brett Lawrie, and then the comebacker to the mound to Moises Sierras. And now it's a 4-1 Blue Jays lead. Colby Rasmus into the game defensively in center field. That pushes Bautista from center to right, and Moises Sierra is out of the game. So Delabar remains in the ballgame. He came in and stranded a pair to end the 7th. It was a first pitch strike to Dustin Pedroia. Pitching with a 3-run cushion, quite a bit different than protecting a 1-run lead.
You can take your chances just a little bit more now, but I'd keep the pedal to the metal right here and just attack. Just like he did when he came in last inning. He attacked the bottom of that lineup.
Loop, Cecil, Delabar, and Santos combined yesterday in relief to go 4 2/3 of hitless relief. Dustin Pedroia reaches out and strokes that high fastball into right. Leadoff single for Pedroia. But the bullpen gave the Blue Jays an opportunity to come back in that game. They fell short by a run. They scored 2 in the 8th, 1 in the 9th, but lost 7-6. But it was the bullpen that kept the Red Sox in check. Grady Sizemore has gone 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. Delabar gets ahead. Sizemore at the plate. Mike Napoli is on deck. Brett Cecil has gotten up again.
He's just looking for matchups right now. The one guy I keep thinking about is David Ortiz, sitting on that bench for the Boston Red Sox. And I'm sure John Gibbons is doing the same thing.
Yeah, he's got his eye on Big Papi, and Big Papi has his batting gloves on. Did not start in this game. There's a strike. 2 balls and 2 strikes to the Red Sox left fielder. Shane Victorino is also available. He is strictly a right-handed hitter now. The former switch hitter has abandoned the left side. Missed that inside corner. So Napoli, a right-handed hitter on deck, and then A.J. Pierzynski. That's who Brett Cecil has on his mind. Napoli will get a shot at Delabar. Pierzynski in the cleanup spot has gone 0 for 3 so far. High fly ball into shallow right. Bautista calling for it. Rasmus is there and just barely gets out of the way. 1 down. Fans, a reminder right after this ball game coming up on Sportsnet. It's the Sportsnet Countdown. Ivanka Osback counts down your favorite Blue Jays. Coming up right after this game. Big crowd on hand. Lots of noise here at Rogers Center. And Colby Rasmus didn't hear Bautista calling for it until just before the ball hit the glove. 45,260 in attendance.
Send them home happy.
Mike Napoli takes an inside pitch. Opening day crowd here on April 4th against the Yankees was 48,197. Napoli trying to check his swing. This is the third biggest crowd of the season. Back-to-back 40,000 fans coming out for the final 2 games of the Red Sox series.
And you're facing danger right there if you throw a fastball up to Mike Napoli. You're going to have to try and get that ball down and away.
You saw A.J. Pierzynski on that.
There you go. Good spot right there for that fastball.
Full count, Dustin Pedroia at first base after his leadoff single. Full count, 1 out. Fly ball into center. Rasmus coming in, makes the grab. 2 down. So Delabar now with 2 outs as Bob Stanley runs to the phone quickly. Cecil is ready. Santos appears to be ready. And now, obviously, Delabar facing A.J. Pierzynski. The potential tying run is still on deck. So Cecil has stopped throwing for the time being. Ooh, that almost got away from Toeling.
That's the benefit, you know, when you talk about matchups late into the game and making it tough on the manager. If you have for your lineup, you can go a right-hander and a left-hander and back and forth, righty-lefty. Tough to bring in that left-hander if you're looking for the matchup that you want.
Pierzynski knocked down by Delabar, and he's going to flip to first to end the inning. The Red Sox leave a base runner. The Blue Jays will bat in the bottom of the 8th. They have a 4-1 lead. Now it's time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn. Jays Club is presented by Boston Pizza. Become a member of the Junior Jays Club. Members receive a Blue Jays cap, baseball stationery kit, and front-of-the-line access to run the bases. Membership is only $19.99, so sign up today. BlueJays.com/kids. You'll find all the information you need, or you can call the Blue Jays directly at 416-341-1715. Andrew Miller into the ball game, second time in this series, his 12th appearance of the season.
Great numbers for the big left-hander. He's got that wipeout slider you got to get ready for.
Number 9 hitter Jonathan Diaz. Jonathan started at second base this afternoon, first time in his career. There's that wipeout slider that he took.
That's nasty. He's got one of the best strikeouts per 9 ratio of any reliever.
Popped up over near the seats. Napoli giving a look. It is a row deep into the seats and out of his reach. John Lester goes 7 innings. Is charged with 4 earned runs on 5 hits. Didn't walk a batter and struck out 7. He was tough. He threw 122 pitches. That's a season high, and just 8 off of his career high. Bouncing ball kicks off the mound. Pedroia quickly to first. 1 down. With Next Issue, get unlimited access to over 100 of the world's best magazines on your tablet. Baseball fans, sign up at nextissue.ca/baseball and get an extended 60-day free trial. John Lester's career high pitch count was 130. Came back in May of 2008 against the Kansas City Royals. Jose Reyes went 0 for 3 against Lester. Continues to bat right-handed. Bouncing ball up the middle. Pedroia backhands and makes a heck of a play. Throws it offline, and Reyes has himself a 1-out single.
Wow. Dustin Pedroia, the Gold Glove winner last year. His 3rd Gold Glove in his career, shows the range and the arm. He almost comes up with it. 688 total chances last year, and he only made 5 errors.
His only error this year came on a ball transferred out of his glove that he dropped, and the next day they changed the rule.
Made that error one day too early, didn't he?
Melky Cabrera pops it up. David Ross over near the Red Sox dugout and overran it.
Ball goes up. It's got the backspin on. You're going to come right back, and you're right. There it goes. Starting to come back. And pops out of his glove.
Yeah, that ball has that spin. It'll take it back toward home plate, and he overran it. He's charged with an error. There goes Cabrera. Reyes, and it's a flare into right. And Reyes gets up after a head-first slide and moves to third. It goes first to third on the hit and run with a slide at second.
That is twice now on this homestand that we have seen Reyes and Cabrera work the hit and run perfectly. That time he slides. He's deked in. He has no idea where the ball is. He's deked. But because the ball was blooped into right field and it bounces high off the carpet, that allows Reyes to get up and go to third base. That is a nice aggressive play by the Blue Jays after the dropped pop-up by Ross. You put the hit and run on.
Came right back with it, and what a dynamic offensive player Reyes is. Melky Cabrera with 2 hits again today. Reyes with the head first slide at second. He's laughing about it, that he brings so much energy. But they pulled off the hit and run. Reyes slides into second, and then the ball lands safely in right, gets up and goes to third. Jose Bautista has not reached base yet this afternoon. He has reached in every game, all 24. Pickoff is on, and Reyes is back. David Ross trying to pick off Reyes at third. He went behind the batter and made a strong throw, but Reyes was on his toes. Bouncing ball up the middle. Bogarts bobbles it, and Bautista has reached. Reyes comes in to score. It'll be an RBI for Bautista. He reaches base for 25 straight games, and the Blue Jays have expanded their lead.
Ball up the middle. He'll get an RBI. Bogarts gets there, but then drops it when he's trying to shovel it over to Pedroia to get the force out at second base. And
so that'll do it for Andrew Miller. He's out of the game. Edwin in. Capitalize on a couple of errors by the Red Sox this inning. Bautista hit a ball up the middle, and they looked like they could have a chance for a double play. Now they have changed the scoring to give Bautista a base hit. It's an infield hit. He gets the RBI, and he has extended his streak of reaching base to 25 straight.
This is Burt Badenhop, first time that we have seen him in this series. Sinker slider type pitcher.
Edwin Encarnacion. High and deep to center. Jackie Bradley. He's not going to catch this one. Milky's around third. He's going to score. Bautista's right behind him. And here comes Edwin.
You got that right. You can just tell that he is getting ready early. He's loading up on that back leg, and he's starting to sting the ball. 3 straight line drives to the center fielder, then a ringing double to left, and now this one finally over the head of Jackie Bradley. First pitch, look at Edwin. Short swing, head down, and a great finish. Blue Jays have been waiting for Edwin to turn it on, and it looks like he's getting ready to go off.
Brett Lawrie's had a good day at the plate. He's homered and he's doubled. He's driven in 2 and scored 2. 7-1 Blue Jays. The Blue Jays with a 6-run lead. Santos has taken his seat. Esmiel Rogers beginning to loosen up. Laurie is caught looking at strike 3. So second out of the inning.
A comeback fastball right there from Peyton. Can't give up on that one.
So there are 2 outs. Juan Francisco. Francisco has gone 0 for 3. But he had a productive at bat in the 2-run 7th inning when he had a long fly ball to deep center field, and Brett Laurie was able to move up from second to third and eventually score on the comebacker to the pitcher.
At the time, that was huge.
Up the middle, Bogarts gloves it and throws out Francisco. But the Blue Jays scored 3 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning to build the 7-1 lead. Edwin Encarnacion has hammered the ball all afternoon. This a 2-run double in the 8th. Right after this ball game, it's the Sportsnet Countdown. Ivanka Osmak counts down your favorite Blue Jays of all time. Coming up right after this ball game. R.A. Dickey bobblehead day, and it's been a good day for R.A. Dickey and his teammates. Dickey had a great start. He really set the tone for this game. In the middle part of the game, he had a stretch of 10 straight Red Sox time. Steve Delabar does a terrific job of relief, and now they'll turn things over to Esmiel Rogers, trying to close out the Red Sox here in the ninth.
5 big runs by the Blue Jays late in the last couple of innings. Has blown this one open. Now it's you see Esmiel for the 10th time this year.
Delivers the first pitch strike to Will Middlebrooks. There's that good slider. Quickly ahead 0-2.
Yeah, he's been working with some grips to try and get a little bit more bite on his slider, and he has found a nice grip. Nice.
That slider gets away from Tolle. Middlebrooks goes to first, but he's thrown out. A strikeout, 2-3 on the putout, and Rogers retires the first batter here in the ninth. R.A. Dickey, his first start in a Blue Jay uniform that he didn't have a walk. He was great today, and he and Josh Tolle did a fine job of mixing in all of his pitches. Finished up with 6 strikeouts, just 1 earned run. in line for his second win of the season. First pitch strike to Johnny Gomes. Blue Jays will have Monday off. They will not travel to Kansas City until tomorrow afternoon. Play the Royals in a 3-game series, then move on to Pittsburgh for interleague play. Play the Pirates Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday afternoon, before they finish up with 2 short games in Philly.
A couple of lefties that we will see in Kansas City, Bruce Chen and Jason Vargas, and then Yordano Ventura for the final game next Thursday. He'll be matched up against Mark Burley.
Johnny Gomes, back-to-back strikeouts for Espiel Rogers. And the Blue Jays are not away from winning the finale of this 3-game series. Xander Bogaerts 2 more hits this afternoon. Bogaerts had a double in game 1 on Friday night. Did not play in yesterday's game. This score holds up. The Blue Jays will finish 2-4 on the 6-game homestand. Obviously not what they had hoped for against 2 American League East rivals, the Orioles and the Red Sox. Whatever Rogers has done with that grip on his slider, it's working.
Yeah. He's got great command with it now, and he's got good bite.
Bogaerts goes around. $40,160 on their feet. They'll have to remain standing. The Red Sox will fall to 12-14. Blue Jays will go to 12-13. Ball game. Espiel Rogers punctuates an outstanding day. He strikes out the side in the 9th. The offense came up big time. Brett Laurie with his 6th home run. He had an RBI double in the 7th. Melky Cabrera extends his hit streak to 10 straight. Bautista, his games reached base to 25, and R.A. Dickey picks up his 2nd win of the season.
You know, they did a lot of nice things offensively, and we can talk about that, but it's the R.A. Dickey on R.A. Dickey bobblehead night had it working. He used that knuckleball, and he took about 10 miles per hour off of it a few times. It really had the Red Sox hitters timing messed up.
Dickey was great all afternoon. Thanks for watching. We'll see you Tuesday from Kansas City. Stay tuned. Ivanka Osmak and Sportsnet Countdown coming right up.